what's going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the third album by American industrial rock band 9 Inch Nails. Based on this particular product is called The Fragile, and that came out in the late summer/fall of 1999. Now within pitches amongst it here, particularly within these pitches, 9 Inch Nails took a sizable gap off between this album and their actual second album, The Downward Spiral, from early mid-1990. I think it came out in like the spring or so of 1994. Pitch like that hit that phrase. May have been the fall of 1994. I don't remember. It's full bound. I do own that album. Pitch like that. I have not gotten around to reviewing it just yet, but I have reviewed some previous type products by 9 Inch Nails. Pitch like that, particularly one of which was like an EP. Some of those type pitches with the aspect it's probably been, if I remember correctly, it's probably been since like the fall of 2023. I think it was around Halloween or so, 2023, when I last touched base with 9 Inch Nails. So definitely it's overdue to get back to these folks for this pitch can happen. Definitely need to start fucking with this particular band and some fairs like that as far as these excellent pitch is going to get towards. But this pitch for us, and I want to say I possibly reviewed like their 1989 album as well. I want to say they dropped an album. Yeah, I reviewed Pretty Hate Machine way back in like 2019 or something like that. I remember reviewing. I reviewed a couple good assortments of some of these type ones. Do fuck pretty candidly with this band as far as these pitch game. Trent Reznor and the folks as far as these pitch game excellent type pitches here, but paying attention towards the aspect, this is pretty inspired type product. And the fair about this particular album is the Liddy type factor that goes along with it as far as saying this paying attention like the fray. It has traces of the Downward Spiral kind of on here, even if I realized within certain type aspects that the Capital type appeal and just the banner kind of out of nowhere type bang, that particular the Downward Spiral kind of had some of those type tunes like I don't want to spoil like the album type frame, but particularly some of the hit songs like Pigs and like me trying to think of some of the singles like Pigs and March of the Pigs and Closer, some of those type ones. Pitch like that. It was one of those particular albums that, even despite the fact that it may not have been like commercially like the large spread aspect of one of the banner type albums out of the 90s, it definitely is one of those type ones that's like a de facto one that you think of when it had the whopping type appeal. Between like Trent Reznor and Marilyn Manson, both these folks particularly tore up like the 90s for this pitch albums. The aspect as far as saying that, particularly within the aspect, Trent Reznor has some good aspects of really being a predominant type factor out of the 90s. So it was kind of that sort of acclaim pitch like that. Now there is another album that appears within pitch like that further down the spiral, which came out in 1995. So some pitches I do want to say that there's some other type of phrase that happened with 9 Inch Nails throughout the 90s. Pitch like that was the fray. They dominated this particular decade pretty well with the pitch like that. It was just kind of fair as far as saying it was the aspect. Like particularly in like the Cage Night kind of scene, definitely the Downward Spiral is one of those type ones. Like in terms of like the After Hours type product, when you think of getting past like the more commercial type fluff, like probably around that particular time, No Doubt and Bush and some of these type folks like that, pitches like Foo Fighters and Weezer and Green Day, folks like that were kind of more daytime, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, more kind of rush hour, post hour type phrase. This is kind of pitch of what folks were probably getting towards when it's time to get like some products. Now it's not to say within the aspect, but just kind of the aspect of word. Starlets are probably going to have to dodge roofies and fairs like that. Just paying attention like the aspect, like the phrase, like the prolific type turn up, and just the usual type phrase of Cage Nights and rave type fair pitch like that. Just the glitter, gloss, and glam pitch like that sense of phrase, especially more around like West Coast type phrase. But not just to say with the part of that being a reputation for it, but just the pitch for us. And it's very prolific typeness. It's taking like that seedy kind of 80s Miami kind of ness within the product, and just having that more 90s kind of Cage type aspect. Kind of it has to do with techno, and this is definitely something. This particular album, The Fragile, had a lot to do with like the aspect as far as like the phrase of pushing forth like 2000s kind of techno typeness, but also the pitch of just having like just a further update with like industrial within those pitches. Now Marilyn Manson definitely did this. He kind of somewhat did like the Cage Night type fair, but he was kind of starting to get into more metal typeness. So he was just more shredded within the aspect. But in terms of like the actual prolific shake your ass kind of get towards the boogie and have the product of like this aspects of consistent kind of fury, just for like the actual consistently in the demon time type hours past like 10 o'clock p.m. to about 4 or 5 in the morning, pitch like that. The phrase then hitting up Waffle House and Village Inn later within the morning type phrase pitch. This is probably one of those type albums. This is a pitch for us saying, but really the fair amongst it is the Downward Spiral was such a hitting type album that just lasted a good particular chunk of time. And then you add in like Marilyn Manson, who was kind of like Trent Reznor's protege around that time, at least for the first couple albums, at least Portrait of American Family and like Antichrist Superstar from 1996, and I probably throw in Smells Like Children from 95 as well. The 94, 95, 96 bands had to do with Trent Reznor pitch like that, but the phrase Forest and some of those stuff phrase that kind of took over, but it's kind of the pitch Forest and some of these stuff pitch really had the aspects. So this is some hit type PLs. This did not slip off. I feel like the acclaim behind this particular album is pretty large spread and pitch like that. Did have a pretty high spread type charting single with at least the lead single. This is a double album on top of that. Just to say within these pitches, I'm going to return to this album down the road. I'm only going to review disc 1 right now with these pitches. Be the phrase Forest and this review would probably wind up taking like pretty much 55 minutes to an hour. I don't know how long this review is going to stretch to. As this exact moment's a little bit less than 6 minutes, but within pitch Forest saying this could wind up taking, within spells. So it's just probably, I'm going to review disc 2 down the road, so stay tuned for that when that eventually happens. Don't hold your breath, but it will eventually happen at some stage with the pitch Forest saying. So product of it here, capital type Ness, at least the lead single, and so there is 3 singles of this product, so I'm not going to talk about Into the Void this time, but it's within pitch Forest, and it is a single that kicked off disc 2 as far as this first game, so we'll get towards that, but I'll at least talk about The Day the World Went Away, and we're in this together, 2 singles off this album. So it's good, nice pitch here. But Beyonce, this album gets a 10 out of 10. Good pitch like that is a further update. And the fair amongst it is kind of the fray that it continues like the expansion pack of what particularly the downward spiral kind of was, but it does it kind of in a more distorted and just kind of more glimmered and flickered type aspects as the pitch for us, and just paying attention like the product it is. Some of these type ones, when you think like a movie like Fight Club or The Matrix, some of those really kind of discs where there would be like cockroaches in like apartment hallways, and that's not to say within those pitches that's talking about the companies, but just some of that type fare. It's really much the upside down kind of Hollywood slime typeness that kind of goes along with some of those type phrase where it's not so much low budget in terms of quality, but just the pitch of like places that would be kind of more hole in the wall where the pitches would kind of be just more glam type factor within the CD side of things. So it's a CD type album, not in terms of like the aspect of like the efficiency that it has, which is the pitch for us saying it just goes to like different corners of the neighborhood as far as what's supposed to happen within the aspect was the pitch as far as you get towards some of these type crawls, pitch like that. So cage night type appeals, step out type phrase, billiards hall, things that pitch like that is paying attention like the product, keeping Diva Miss in mind within the aspect, just paying attention. But the aspect kind of on here, it doesn't display it, it's full bound, it's kind of pitch, just keep in mind like the aspects of some of these type products as far as like the particular type of appeal, this the active type phrase, that this paying attention to like you could say like vibe check in there, but also just the product, this like the consistent kind of it's not to say safety in terms of being like a particular aspect of it's not to say safety tending in terms of being like a Clark Kent type fellow pitch, just like that, changing in like a phone booth, something like that. But the pitch as far as saying some of these type aspects as far as just paying attention, kind of the leerier and just more side of things where if you are going to step out to some of the places like active kind of just shadier type aspects, active type shadier type places, active type shadier type places, more hole in the wall type sleeves and sludge pitch like that, places where it's going to be kind of the product just not where all bets are off type phrase where you don't know shit just got real since the pitches, the struggle is real type territory since the pitch like that. And it's to say within those aspects as far as paying attention like the phrase as far as getting towards it's kind of particular places where Diva Miss would not leave her purse and go to the bathroom for 20 minutes and you go and get a drink or something and leave it there also. It's kind of pitch if she says, well, I'm going to be back in 15 minutes or something like that, her purse is there and you say, oh, hey, I'm going to go talk this, I'm going to turn around real quick and talk to this particular fellow, just pitch, just not, it's not to say as if it's shady to that particular extent where it's just like to that degree of untrustworthy, just the pitch, just aspects within some of the phrase, just the extra type phrase to kind of go along with this kind of pitch, just step out type phrase, it's kind of in a more kind of venture type side within the pitch, like active kind of just cage kind of consistency pitch like, but it's paying attention towards just the prolific typeness, it's going out for some ventures and good pinches, like a thrill of like just the spice of like Hollywood bound typeness, and it's the product of like some less kind of family friendly and just not quite as butterfly. It's just not as much the candy kind of sunshine butterflies typeness than the aspects. It just has a little bit more than the tone of just like Fight Club, The Matrix, and like Donnie Darko, and particular aspects of like I won't say American Beauty. I won't say American Beauty, and then there was like another movie where Jared Leto was particular in like a trans person type role. I think it was the Dallas Buyers Club. Yeah, Dallas Buyers Club, some of those type fairs like that, pitches like that. But just being able to say aspects, definitely aspects like that. But 10 out of 10 album pitch like this with them phrases been going on. I'll say like that, but pitch as far as saying. So there's some instrumentals off the sound pitch like that. Not every single song is like a full bound touch song. Like one of which is La Mur as far as this pitch. Yeah, that's particularly just that's just an instrumental. Same thing with Pilgrimage. I think it's one more type one, which I think is The Frail, which is some of those that pitch that are instrumentals. So it's pitched like that. But The Day the World Went Away is the hit type one, lead single off the sound. It's like a good razzle, but Foo Fighters-y kind of Rush Hour type plot to get towards there. Just Domino's Pizza kind of have just in kind of get some of those flat pizza type ones. Just kind of more just ham it up type fair. Just chew the fat as far as these pitch album with standard pals. Amidst like the public, kind of a little bit more sunshine, so this has a little bit more aspect. That's not to say like this album isn't savory. It's a pitch for saying if it comes off with the territory of as far as it being kind of within the tone, as far as being seen as kind of questionable within pitches like that, or kind of sketchy, it's not. It's just more the fray of just going to like aspects within the tone as far as like the prolific type tarot getting it. Rave tends to be within the prog where you're going to listen to more prolific type fairs. It's just the prog where it's just more breakneck and fairs like that within sunset pitches as far as saying it's just not going to be like the usual number ones that would be the banner type phrase. You know, when you get to like rave and cage night type clubs, it's going to be it's going to be the pitch where you're going to hear songs within the pitch that's not just going to be like particular, you know, not to name names in terms of it being tame, but the pitch of just paying attention, you know, just thinking of fluff like particular such and such or so and so kind of pop fluff or pitch like that. Some of those type ones that you'd hear on everyday kind of music type fair, 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock p.m. pitch like that, and even Friday and more candid tests. But just some good nice pitches. Look after it. So The Day the World Went Away kind of mixes like Foo Fighters from like 97, 99, some stuff pitches like that with also like the fray of like the Downward Spiral from 1994. So it's kind of pitches, just having some of that type of, it's kind of taking like that kind of like that steady and kind of pleasant pace, and then taking like the roar and the rip like a Foo Fighters type chorus, and then pitch like that. They'll kind of have just the embark of just being like, fuck yeah, it's Friday or it's Thursday afternoon, pitch like that, one more day or just got done, so it's a pitch like that, since that phrase bunks, just get some dominance in your system, choose the fat, and a good nice embrace, kind of get towards just with the more kind of industrial toes, just good rush hour kind of day tackle, just with some industrial, which doesn't just commonplace kind of happen. Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson hasn't really done songs like this. Let's pitch as far as saying so. Marilyn Manson hasn't really done songs like this, so some good nice pitch within this phrase for us paying attention, like a Rush Hour type song, like industrial pitch like that. We're in this together. Second single good pitch here is like a lit flickering kind of cage night and rave club. We're in this together. The second single is like a lit flickering cage night and rave club. Excited to get towards your good pitch like that. This vintage. Vintage Nin, 9 Inch Nails pitch like that. Just some good socials get towards. Definitely excellent type fair to loose and good pitch like that. Just particular miss as far as these first going to happen. I hope it gets a lot hotter tonight. Just your makeup definitely looks better when it's smeared. Pitch like that, sends a phrase like that. It's kind of pitch first and just paying attention like to hit that phrase. It's not hot enough in this particular venue for someone like you as far as these pitch again, but just the aspects first and sends that phrase. Just getting towards the aspect, good ham it up type. Just spicing it. Just spicing it up type phrase for these pitch games, section type products amongst it. It's one of those type ones. It's the sort of pitch that just getting towards those type ones. Is hit sort of phrase, just a continuation, like the phrase that's kind of getting towards with like particular, like downward spiral pitch like that. So some of those banging type ones could pitch like that. It's kind of the aspect, just getting cozy, getting comfy, good pitch like that. Definitely goaltending right off the bat with miss. First, he's supposed to just step out this real spectacular as far as this pitch, kind of real spectacular, good pitch like that. It's a hit type phrase amongst it. Paying attention towards it here. So all 12 songs of the album, I recommend good pitch like that. So nice hit type one. So particularly one of which, The Great Below, is a hitting type one. It's like a dope movie theater style kind of showcase and presentation. Get towards here. This really feels like something that would be out of a particular type film, one of those type ones when you think of particular. Now within like the pitch, I would say something like The Mummy, but also pitches like some of those bands. I can't think it's full bound. Definitely some of those type ones that feel ripped out of like a more where the camera would kind of pan out and showcase like the scenery. Some of those type pitch, so kind of be like a transit type scene, something like that. Some of those type pitches as well. I was kind of thinking The Mummy because some of those type phrases where it just would showcase and it'd show like the pyramids in the distance or some sort of Amazonian type forest or just pitches of excellent dramatics and just excitement, just good excellent type flare pitch like that. Paying attention like the phrases, some burgeoning kind of next moves as far as this pitch goes. So paying attention like the product's kind of amongst this kind of figuring out. Now within the phrase, if you're just going for like a neighborhood type stress kind of pitch, but it just adds some emphasis pitch like this. It's kind of phrase for us in the particular fair amongst this album within pitch like that. When you get towards the product, some of these stuff fairs, it feels kind of within the product when you just are going to like Taco Bell or some of places, or you're going to Arby's, nearby Arby's, sense of pitch like that. Sense of fairs, this kind of pitch when you pay attention like the dramatic type Fabioso typeness amongst the albums, the pitch as far as saying it has a lot more emphasis within the glam factor as far as saying that the product just pumps like standard kind of mundaneness, full of steroids as far as this pitch goes. So it's just something to pay attention towards when you listen to some of these type ones. It's kind of feels kind of miffing when you listen to like some of these stuff. There's The Great Below and like particular We're in This Together, and there's another one off here like No You Don't. Some of these type ones like that. Some of the pitches within these aspects that kind of have the fair makes you hungry for doing more than just picking up like a burrito or like a Subway sandwich, sounds to pitch like that, especially within like the product of but even with the glam type factor, even with the pitch of like talking about getting towards like some terrible like a $15 bottle getting towards like a $10 bottle of vodka, sounds a pitch kind of products for us, but just the aspect, just good excitement, definitely good nice thrills pitch like that. Since hit that ones, the frail is hitting off here is like a Frail's an instrumental pitch like that. It's like some contemplate moments and smoke a sweet type very good pitch like that. Yeah. Frail's like some contemplate moments and smoke a sweet type very good pitch like that. Just definitely ooze pitch like that. Appreciate like the ambience as far as these first gonna have. Just kind of some shadows good pitch like that. It's kind of a latte run for me as far as these first gonna go. Really like the haunted and this overall really like the haunting and overall fragility amongst the song. Definitely agree with like the fact that some of this being frail just kind of looks like a particular just ghostly kind of window, something like that, where it feel like some sort of banshee's looking out of it or pitch like that. Sounds like ones. Definitely some of those type of particular pitches. Now within the product, I think talking about like a movie, like the particular I forget the name of like the movie, like the creepy. The creepazoid girl that fell down the well, something that might have been The Village, one of those type ones. I forget. Maybe it was The Ring. I think The Ring was the one where the girl. Now this is before a little bit before that particular movie, but it's a pitch for some of those type ones, pitches like that. It's kind of that particular, just lighthouse type leeriness pitch like that. But just hit that phrase for us that particular aspect. This very much has like some just ambient kind of as this is very much. It says like photo shoot kind of display amongst this. A pitch like that definitely gives like imagery that's just very like imagery that's very Hollywood-esque and this like movie theater quality pitch like that. No You Don't, it's a hitting type one off here. This combos pretty well with We're in This Together pitch like that. It's like a highlight kind of early bird transiting from 90s cage type phrase pitch like that, like the downward spiral, the more like the downward spiral, the more 2000s kind of industrial pitch like that sounds type one. So kind of the aspects when you think of like particular March of the Pigs by Nine Inch Nails and The Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson, getting towards one of those type products that would kind of be 2000s type everyday pitch like that. As you start to get to more Fear Factory and Orgy and some stuff folks like that, and Power Man 5000 on the regulars, good nice pitches, definitely good industrial pitch like that sounds type phrase. So kind of the product just seen within those phrases. Now it's unfortunate that there were not more full bound type albums from Nine Inch Nails around this time. This is only their third album in 10 years by this particular point, but still some good aspects for us like the phrase kind of just good further type hits within it. Just definitely a good burner amongst this particular tune here, very lit. No You Don't definitely feels like mid-90s kind of Marilyn Manson on top of that. Good nice pitches within some stuff. Beautiful People type days, a little bit of Tourniquet in there, pitches like that. Definitely some of those type rumbles, pitches like that. Somewhat Damaged is pretty affable. And there's a couple of songs off here pitched like that kind of have like some kind of chummy type moments that are more pedestrian, but it's kind of pitched for us saying that Nine Inch Nails and Trent Reznor definitely have the pitch as far as making that interesting where it is, whether you're just reading the paper or just have like the television white noise kind of on pitch like that. It's kind of for just some time waste, kind of boring type moments, but it's actually not boring within those pitches if all you're really doing is just have like a car magazine or a Playboy somewhere around pitch like that, and just kind of like the particular aspect is like the television on and just smoking like a swish or something stuff airs, and just kind of boring type phrase, burning through a bag of Fritos, something like that. But it's pitch for us saying just the aspect amongst things that airs, a good Hollywood type aspect to make those sorts of aspects. Not just Hollywood, but just good contemporary type banner typeness to make those particular moments kind of interesting, good pitches, but somewhat damaged like a pedestrian and Homestead, but engaging kind of perkiness to get towards here. Have like some spicy nachos, good pitch like that. Just take random just plain and bland kind of gin shots versus first. I'm just not say bland in terms of being boring, just the pitch, just simple kind of. I'm just gonna. Simple, just I'm gonna walk to the fridge, particularly bust out some gin pitch like that, and just get bent a little bit. Just random Thursday afternoon or Wednesday afternoon pitch like that's kind of fray. Does not didn't strike me as necessarily having to be like Friday evening typeness, but just kind of some random type phrases. Has the excitement type factor. Now it starts turning into like some good. The phrase starts getting towards some kickoff type product, but it's just good kind of just buzzing type feels. Just definitely real excellent blistering type buzzer pitch like that. The Wretched is hitting type ones, like a thrilling kind of dust shift kind of flicker and club initiate as far as these first game. Just pick up like $5 vodka or just have a $5 vodka. Have like a $5 vodka nearby pitch like that, and Doritos as far as these first game. Just some satin stars miss as far as these first game. Just kind of product. Your hairstyles have been really the shit these past several days pitch like that. Don't know how you're doing it. I don't know who you're stealing it from pitch like that. Leave Reese Witherspoon or Anne Hathaway. Leave Reese Witherspoon or Anne Hathaway alone, but don't in the same sentence within those pitches. For those first kind of good, nice pitches, just kind of some pep on top of that. It's kind of seems like work didn't hate you that much this week. So good pitch as far as those first kind. I'm just paying attention to those products. It's good, nice pep within products for us. But just the product is some of. Just getting towards the product. So this is kind of the fray. The Wretched's pretty similar to like, particularly somewhat damaged, but it's just kind of the pitch as far. The Wretched's pretty similar to like somewhat damaged, but it's just more the pitch of just kind of outing type Ferris kind of product where it would be like some car stick kind of transits within pitch like that, but it's kind of the product now, not $5 vodka in the whip pitch like that, but it's the fray just figuring out the modes of this kind of like the in between type stage, just beelining for like the nearest type spot to kind of get towards the product like good tear up and fraternize pitch like that, but it's kind of the phrase, it's kind of the product just like the excitement type era, just like satin towards particular galley and figuring out the next modes with pals as far as those pitch guns, just kind of getting to the product like, yep, to the TGIF or within some of those type modes, even if it's not Friday's pitch pitches towards getting towards that ballistics, good pitch like that. Particularly, I don't know if I talked about the Fragile, the title track's hitting type one off here is like a Fragile's like a throwback to Downward Spiral kind of banger, get towards your pitch like that. Definitely like the song Pigs, some of those ones. Yeah, March of the Pigs, good pitch like that, hit that phrase. Homestead kind of it's definitely some excellent kind of Homestead kind of positive bullshit to get towards here, good pitch like that. Just some ham it ups definitely within those aspects. So definitely feels just ripped out of 19. So definitely feels just like it's ripped out of 1994, pitch like that. So let's hit that phrase amongst this kind of probably just kind of consistent, good, consistent and steady kind of this bullshit type fair pitch like that. So I'm surprised with this the aspect, this kind of conduit type phrase. We're getting ready for like some further type terror, but just kind of pitch appreciating like the more pleasant and like an exciting type sense type tangents, good pitch like that. It's kind of brewing type fair accent type pitches, just like you imagine's hitting off here is like a woozy and deflated kind of alt rock sludge to get towards your kind of product, some transit type fair. It's kind of like the pitch. There's a particular one I was just talking about with this, kind of like the Fragile, the title track, some type pitches, and also like the product to like particular Also like the wretched pitch like that, but just some of those type fares definitely within pitch like that. Just woozy and deflated kind of alt rock sludge get towards your good pitch like that. Just a torpid kind of day tackle as far as you're supposed to get. Now it doesn't stay within the torpid typeness for very long within the song type fare. It kind of gets to like the excitement type fare, just like the spicy typeness, good pitch like that. Definitely some club night type fares like the product. Just like yep, it's time for. It's definitely time for some velocities, good pitch like that as far as these first guidance. Within the aspects for us saying paying attention towards the air within the pitch kind of behind it. It's kind of the tone, just the usual kind of dreary type aspects. The pitch amongst this particular album within the pitch for us saying it's not this has a very lean type factor amongst as far as these pitch guidance. The product as far as saying it's not really within for the most part type sense too much within like the Monday morning, Monday afternoon, the brunch the Monday morning, Monday afternoon, and Tuesday afternoon type pitch. It's pretty much within the phrase for saying this is it's just not a problem whatsoever. It's the pitch for saying getting you within that particular fray of like, all right, once you get, Sunday through Wednesday it might be kind of annoying, but by the time it's like pretty much either Wednesday afternoon within sunset pitches or Thursday afternoon sunset pairs, I would probably say Wednesday within those pitches because there's enough candidness about this out and say between Wednesday and Saturday sunset pitch as far as saying like the particular product's like, all right, this is where shit starts to get interesting. Sunset pitch as far as like the product kind of getting towards some of these. It's kind of a patient type song, a certain type of pitch. It's kind of the product as far as saying just dealing with like the product like the blahs day, but just kind of aspects for us saying you might have another day or so within pitch like that kind of knockout some type of phrase like the annoyance factor, but it's kind of pitch for us and it's good. Kind of excitement either getting ready to happen in the next 5 minutes or within the next day or 1.5, something like that, or 2, something like that within those pitches. This kind of product is shit pending, but not either for not too long or just a short spell pitch like that. Hit that phrase. Hit that pitch to get to some of that type ballistics pitch like that. I don't think I talk about Pilgrimage. This is an instrumental here. Good, nice pitch amongst this one. It's like a miss, like some great. Pilgrimage is a. Pilgrimage is a miss, like some great buzzing, kind of cage night and feeling slosh type, very good pitch like that. Just in goal 10, definitely towards the miss, as far as what's going to happen. You feel. It's a miss like some stationed and mandatory kind of goal 10 towards the miss as far as what's supposed to happen. Definitely within the pitch just going to happen as far as what's supposed to happen. You feeling right, good pitch like that amongst the price. The kind of pitch I like. Definitely kind of paying attention like the product as far as these pitches. I'm just getting towards the aspect as far as saying within the particulars. It's kind of lit type fares within the sense of the pitch. It's kind of the particular tone, whether or not the pitch is just it's not just within the product. You would think is it's not as much full blown within the pitch. It just health check the whole time. It's not as much within the full bunch of sense of health check the whole time within pitch as far as saying, within the aspect, this the product, are you okay after 2 shots? Are you okay after 3 shots? Are you okay after 4 shots? So this is the pitch, some of these stuff is it's kind of the product just paying attention. What's your mode about some of these stuff is pitch like that? It's kind of the product as far as just paying attention, kind of the product. It's not being pesky and just kind of not being pesky and first like that, but it's just past your usual consistent type bedtime sounds to pitch. Some of those hit type phrases, I don't think they have grape juice here as far as this pitch game. It's not within the phrase being like a clown about it within sense, but just the aspect as far as some of these type phrases, the pitch is just paying attention. What's your mode right now? Since the pitch like that, the aspect. Are you on a high right now? Since a pitch like that, just keep me updated with since a pitch as far as paying attention like the aspects. It's like this the product kind of amongst it. It's not. It's just within the pitch. It's the aspects as far as like the phrase going to happen. Just kind of the tone. This album is a lot more visceral within these aspects amongst like the fray, like this the paying attention, just the aspect, just kind of the tone, and just like the consistent type carnage as far as just paying attention like the phrase. It's just kind of the pitch going for like the usual type fares, but the aspect just the pitch of just paying attention like the velocity kind of amongst this more active kind of just touch base and miss some of the carnage type amongst this within pitch, like how that particular tear, especially for long-winded, just a consistent type. Consistent type destroy of like a cage night pitch like this. Just the phrase, just paying attention towards that. Definite gold 10 pitch like that. It's this kind of phrase. It's this kind of Nice price. So I think one of the last type ones I haven't talked about off here is Even Deeper. As far as these prices, Even Deeper is like a township and city strut fair to kind of get towards here. Just leery but vivid, I definitely say. Taco Bell runs pitch like that. Some of the product like some industrial type fair getting towards that. So it's kind of pitch, paying attention like folks like Marilyn Manson and Orgy and particular Fear Factory. Some of those type folks, particularly kind of having Taco Bell runs, good nice pitch. As far as those going to happen. Then the pitch just picking up like a Gordita and Chalupa type fair, good pitch like that. Definitely in Quesarito. Sunset pitch, just some outdoor smokage on top of that. So this getting towards the freight is burning like a good grape sweet sunset pitch. Really appreciating like the smell and pitch like this. Really feeling like the ambience sunset type pitches. So kind of a hollow and ghoulish type song with good excellent pitch as far as like the freight. This like neighborhood type of crawls and pitch like that. So once again, it has the particular aspect of like very the showmanship. The showmanship amongst a lot of these particular type fairs, amongst this album type phrase, very highlight with them pitch like this. The pain pitch like the hit type fairs, some of those type tones, having like a Taco Bell type run, but just more with like the pitch. Supposing you were to get that in like a particular movie that like a folk like Edward Norton were to be in, or one of those type folks like that within a more actor type play. Not so much to say actor in terms of being fake, but just supposing some of that folks in terms of like a Hollywood type flick would kind of have like the tone of like going to like Taco Bell and just being like, fuck it, I'm gonna go pick up some of these type ones and smoke a sweet good fairs like that. Some of those pitches, it's good aspect. It's not to say like this is a full bout, just to say that like this is like the movie theater type aspect, like an album type, right? With this pitch for some of this banner typeness, this has a lot of similarities, like the product is like active kind of vividness and kind of scoptics as far as this pitch comes. Hit that phrase, I think that's the word, scoptics. Pitch like the hit that phrase. Law Murs, hit that one's an instrumental here. I think this last type one I haven't talked about. It's like a homestead kind of chore and being pleasant. Good pitch like that. Just cook some tea for mess, good nice fairs. Fam favors on top of that if families nearby or something stuff pitch like that. It's kind of part kind of amongst it. Just very interesting sounds of fairs, kind of the product of being courtship. Good pitch like that. Just being candid with pitches of folks in the surroundings, pitch like that. Have Gal has the floor for a spell, some stuff pitch, so paying attention. Not as if she wouldn't have the floor normally, but just some stuff asks, paying attention like the Fred, just not having not having to have the steering wheel in your hands pitch like that. It's kind of product just like, hey, you're trying to gab some stuff pitches, I don't give a damn, I'm just gonna particular it's not as if families there where you're just going to bust out like, 3 bottles of gin, pitch like that, but the sun stuff, right? It's kind of the product kind of amongst us within product. If it did, has to do with Galley's family just on top of this kind of pitch, this kind of extra type curricula. Extra type there is just being canned pitch like that. So on the side pitch, how did particular miss learn to wash dishes so good? So on the pitch like that, it's not within phrase, just being to that, phrase within full bummer, just pitch some stuff, acid kind of pitch like that, but I think I know within pitch like that's kind of phrase, just saying probably how many times it was screwed up pitch like that, but just hit type phrase aspects like that as far as paying attention towards the hit type aspects with the tone as far as saying, but yeah, homestead type 1 is kind of differential, kind of just more pleasant within pitch like this standard Sunday industrial type fair within a certain type sense, kind of just the fog of it, good pitch like that, but it's kind of Sunday, Monday type music pitch like that. That's a hit type appeal amongst the sound sense of pitch. So yeah, 10 out of 10 within those aspects. Social score gets a 10 as well. It's real blistering pitch like that. It's real candid kind of snapshot albums within pitch like that. As far as this phrase gonna have, it has that same sort of craziness factor of the downward spiral. It's more spread out within the sense of pitch. So it kind of has the aspects of flickering typeness and the aspects as far as like the tone and just getting towards like the carnage, like some step out type phrase with like a lot of good. There's some homestead type ones on here that don't forget about the progress. It's not as if every single song has to be Thursday, Friday at Miss, like the Crown typeness, like the Blitzkrieg kind of tear up within pitches, and really within the aspect, a lot of these particular type fairs, the actual 2 singles, or at least 2 out of 3 of them that I've heard within these pitches, 2 out of 3 of them that I've heard within these pitches have not appeared to be like the ballistic type craziness within the fact. It's not like this is the, it's not a tamer type album, it's the pitch for saying it has a good balance for like industrial type fair. Usually when you think of industrial, it's pretty much the whole way through kind of just shot in the arm type craziness type factor, real ramped up with like the rampsy and pitch like that, but this particular fair has other balances. It was interesting to kind of get some Foo Fighters S typeness for like rush hour type phrase, pitch like that for like some traffic and chew the fat type fair and some of pitches to some transit type fair for some homestead typeness, a good pleasant type one for fam and just pleasantry around like the homestead, just cooking tea and fairs like that. Sunset fairs is cage night type fairs definitely get tore up too. Sunset pitches pick up like some $5 vodka pitch like that. Some of these type products, just latte type runs with some of these instrumentals pitch like that for standard miss. Sunset pitch like that. It's good aspects amongst the freight, just like consistent. So this strikes me This is basically like the fray of just like neighborhood type tear up. Just when you think of like a more type place where it's just more complex, where it would be more middle class type fair within some stuff pitch, and then just having like the expansion pack of that being on steroids. It's just kind of the pitch of taking like a Los Angeles type album like this particular one here, and then just within the particular fray, just slapping it in like a more kind of like Omaha, Nebraska type area. And it's not to say specifically Omaha, Nebraska, as if that's like a run. Like that's a roundabout type town, but just more places where some of those type areas are going to be within the aspect. Talking like Topeka, Kansas, or some of these type places within pitch like that. They're not like have a million population, something like that. This strikes me, this particular album type area, where this album in the setting where it took place, strikes me where it would be probably population of more than 100,000 or 500,000 people, some stuff pitches like that, easily probably 800,000, something like that within the population, where it's going to be more active type phrase, where it's kind of like, hey, there are some places to really get towards these shit facing nests, and you pretty much get towards the park like some tear up and really show Miss like a pretty prolific type time. It's going to have her pumping out waterfall as far as this pitch counts. So within pitch for example, paying attention towards a good pitch like that amongst the phrase. It's not to say as if that's the only purpose towards it what standard deal with. Some of those pitches paying attention like private pitches like that, just kind of the aspect. As far as these pitches can go, so the aspect within the sense of pitch is just saying good hit. Good hit banner type miss pitch like that. So yeah, 10 social, 10 score pitch like that. So within for in terms of the future within these aspects, for us saying within the particular tone, I want to say that 9 Inch Nails has dropped more further type products in the 2020s. They definitely some sort of collaboration album. I don't know if it was, I think it was either late 2025 or 2026. Some of those type pitches that they did like a collaboration album that I had seen recently. Yeah, I think the Needle Job reviewed it or something like that. It's hit that phrase for saying it's 9 Inch Noise, something like that, came out in 2026 for us. First kind of accent type pitch within those parts for us saying it's a good accent pitch for us price kind, but it's definite staple further type fury for like 9 Inch Nails within pitch like that. Gonna get to more of these type ones, including this two that's gonna happen down the road.